Boom. Boom. Hey, Thundercloud here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rain. Let's have some fun and linguistic games on this Chillin Tuesday. Yeah. Did I already mention my mum calls me James? Something like that. Hey, what am I doing tonight? It's Chillin Tuesday, 15th of October 2024, and I'm going to do a Mary Gilmore reading today. Now, Mary Gilmore, as you may or may not know, is on the back of the front of the $10 note. So she's the heads of the $10 notes, because on the other side's another heads as well. So a little about Mary Gilmore. She lived a pretty long life, actually. She was born Mary Jane Gilmore, nee Cameron, 16th of August, 1865, and she passed away on the 3rd of December, 1962. Oh, she did live a long life, like 97. She was an Australian writer and journalist known for her prolific contributions to Australian literature and a broader national discourse. She wrote both poetry and prose. Gilmore was born in rural New South Wales and spent a childhood around the Riverina, living both in small bush settlements and in larger country towns like Wagga Wagga. Gilmore qualified as a school teacher at the age of 16, and after a period in the country was posted to Sydney. Gilmore's greatest recognition came in later life. She was the doyen of the Sydney literary world and became something of a national icon, making frequent appearances on news, media, radio and television. Gilmore maintained her prodigious output into old age, publishing her last book of verse in 1954, aged 89. Mary died at the age of 97 and was accorded a state funeral, a rare honour for a writer, and she is on the one side of the $10 note. That says here the reverse, but how do you know it's the reverse or the front? Okay, the first one I'm going to do for you is a little ghost. The moonlight flutters from the sky to meet her at the door, a little ghost whose steps have passed across the creaking floor, and rustling vines that lightly tap against the window pane throw shadows on the whitewashed walls to blot them out again. And through the scrub it leads her on and brings her to the creek, but by the broken dam she stops and seems as she would speak. She moves her lips, but not a sound ripples in the silent air. She wrings her little hands, ah, me, the sadness of despair, while overhead the black duck's wing cuts like a flash upon the startled air that scarcely shrinks ere he afar is gone, and curlews wake and wailing cry, curlew, 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 till all the bush with nameless dread is pulsing through and through. The moonlight leads her back again and leaves her at the door, a little ghost whose steps have passed across the creaking floor. Mary Gilmore's A Little Ghost. Now, one thing about writing poetry, it's cathartic, which means it helps to get rid of negativity and stuff out of you. Well, one of the ones that she wrote in when she was around about 50 in 1901, or maybe a bit younger, it's called 14 Men, and it's about an experience when she was a 12-year-old girl. 14 men, and each hung down straight as a log from his toes to his crown. 14 men, and Chinamen they were, hanging on the trees by their pig-tailed hair. Honest poor men, but the diggers said nay, so they strung them all up on a fine summer's day. There they were hanging as we came by, grown-ups in the front seat, on the back seat, I. And that was lambing flat, and still I can see the straight up and down of each in his tree. Yeah, rather morbid poem, but a true story all the same, of the lambing flat, which is now known as Young, miners' riots between the Chinese miners and the European settlers miners. And this was in the 1860s as a riot of 2000 versus 2000. Obviously, some of them didn't fare so well. All right. The next one, I'm going into this book here called The Passionate Heart and Other Poems by Mary Gilmore. It's a selection of her poems out of her other books. This book was published by Angus and Robertson, Serious Quality Paperback Edition, and it was previously published as selected verse the first published in 1948, this edition in 1979. All right, so I've decided today I'm just going to randomly open them up at little pages and then just stick my little paper in and read and write it down. The Wish, a little one. I ask not wealth, nor length of days, nor pride, nor power, nor worldly praise, but just a little quiet place where a friend may come, laying his hand on the door as though it were home. The Wish. The next one, Life's Treasures. These are life's treasurings, the sudden sun through rain, stars on a frosty night, grass rippling o'er the plain, tempest grown still, hearth fires when long road ends, candlelight in a quiet room, and the still silence of a friend. The next one, Eve Song. I span and Eve span, a thread to bind the heart of man. But the heart of man was a wandering thing that came and went with little to bring. Nothing he minded what we made, as he loitered and there he stayed. I span and Eve span, a thread to bind the heart of man. But the more we span, the more we found it wasn't his heart, but ours we bound. 4 children gathered about our knees, the thread was a chain that stole our ease, and one of us learned in our children's eyes that more than man was love and prize. But deep in the heart of one of us lay a root of loss and hidden dismay. He said he was strong, he had no strength, but that which comes of breadth and length. He said he was fond, but his fondness proved the flame of an hour when he was moved. He said he was true, his truth was but a door that winds could open and shut. And yet, as he came back, wandering in from the outward track, we held our arms and gave him our breast as a pillowing place for his head to rest. I span and Eve span, a thread to bind for the heart of man. The next one, Australian. Lie close to my heart, little bird, lie close. The hawk wheels high in the sky. Fierce is his beak and is wild his cry. Lie close, little bird, lie close. Lie close to my heart, little bird, lie close. Thy shield unyielding ever am I. But hovers the hawk with his strange cry, lie close, little bird, lie close. Lie close to my heart, little bird, lie close. Blood shall be shed full till its flood ever shall rise to the pitiless skies, thy last long cry, land that I love. Then wilt thou lie, oh, close to my heart, over my heart? Song of the Loving Woman. Spend your life and save your life. I am a mother who was no wife. She was a wife who was no mother. Now she is dead. I live in another. Nothing had she to leave behind her, nothing by which the living could find her. But as they lean over the face of my child, they will wander and say, just so she smiled. And one will pause in a half surprise because of a look in my baby's eyes. Spend yourself and live in another. I was no wife, but I am a mother. All right, the next one. Appassionata. I feel the soft wind on my cheek. I turn to meet it with my mouth. O wind from out the south, thou art his messenger upon my mouth. I have been lifted up as a bird on the wind because of a word, because of a whisper I heard. The trees of night to cover it, the shadow of night drew over it. Love spelled it, heart held it. Now as a bird on the wing in the spring, am I stirred. Glad, glad is my heart. Sing morning time, sing. Last night at the pane I heard the rain, rain that came from the south. I gave it my cheek and gave it my mouth because in the south were you. Now morning is blue and I sing like a bird on the wing. I sing and I call on the sky and the sun and the morning to sing. And out of the window where came the soft rain, I lean for the sun to lie on my heart, oh, close to my heart, the sun that is shining on you. And blithe on the wing of delight I soar higher and higher, where dreams give wine to desire, wine that is thought of a mouth, tingling to drouth for one who is turning her face to the sun and the wind from the south. Part 2. Sun, let thy light go by. Sky, lean down and hear my cry. Darkness is on me deeper than night. He is away. He is away, and my hands have forgotten to play. My eyes that were bright as the light of the stars in the night are wells of despair. The surge of the blood is drowned in the dirge. That is all I can give to the day. He is away. Oh, song that is measure of power. Oh, grief that darkens the hour. Shall power go empty forever and ever, beating its cry on the air? Song that is measure of me. Call him so tenderly, call him so longingly. He will not stay, always away. What a lovely poem. The next one. Bugles in the valley. Bugles in the valley, trumpets on the wind, blowing out reveille. Paraguay to end, blowing out reveille. Don't you hear them come, leaves off the old tree, blowing home, blowing home. I guess that's like an anti-war song, really. A poem. Yeah, more than anything. The next one is called Life Song. Life Song. Youth is the passion of time as blood is of life. Years cannot measure it, nor saving treasure it. Part 2. Hold fast expectancy, although no tide may come, to swing thee to thy summits, to lift thee to the sun. Something it is to dream, to look beyond the hour, to feel that in thyself power is, though high tide never come. I am giver, my hands have baked your bread. They feed you when you hungered. They laid the pillow for your bed. Sickness and sorrow comforted, without complaint ungrudgingly. My eyes have bled their tears for you. What have you done for me? Part 4. Thou wert the giver, I, O beloved, took. I was but fondling of thy strength, and pensioner of thy look. All that thou gavest Me gave I again to thee, in that thou wert thyself giving to me. All right, so we'll pop a piece of paper and we're going to go somewhere else in the book now and do some more. Here we are. The Plover. I shall not need the moon to find thy trysting place. The plovers late and soon o'er it in flight alace. Forward and back they fly, hearts in eternal hover. My cry is their cry, my heart is thy plover. I shall not need the moon, no night too dark for me, who count thee all my boon, to watch where thou shalt be. Backward and forth must fly wings of the heart and hover. The bird's cry is my cry, my heart thy plover. Above life's darkening field moves in unending flight, grief that may not be healed, to weep upon the night. Therefore, as time runs by, love still must call the lover. The bird's cry is my cry, my heart the plover. This one's called Ninette. The marigold shuts her leaves while the clover folds its hands, and the bees creep out like thieves from the honeysuckle stands. And the honeysuckle breathes its scent in the evening air. Are you there, Ninette, at the gate? Ninette, are you there? And the lamp of the evening star, like a glowworm, lights the sky, and the poplar's slender spar lifts like a finger on high. The curlew wistfully calls his lonely cry on the air. Are you there at the gate, Ninette? Ninette, are you there? Swallows are home to the nest, and under the wing to sleep. Under the soft warm breast the last of the nestlings creep. Tenderly darkens the river, tenderly darkens the eve. The stars are a silver stare. Are you there at the gate, Ninette? Ninette, are you there? The fire flame leaps at the hob, and the candle lifts its light. Was it the sound of a sob? Like the lost things stirred the night? Out of the distance I call, my heart in its pain laid bare. Are you there at the gate, Ninette? Ninette, are you there? Yeah. Next one, called Hunger. I've known bread hunger, yet I have strength. I've known heart hunger, yet I do live. I've known soul hunger, and faith is not dead. When the body cried, I lit love in my heart. When the heart wept, I lit a lamp in my soul. Yet all the while I heard life asking its goal. I was as one looking out of a house, knowing the empty rooms. Hunger by Mary Gilmore. The next one, I just cracked a book spine. To my son, O thou my son, who, when thy youth began, put off thy childhood to become a man, who, where the tropic seas each day begin, dost watch the coursing hours, how swiftly they run. Mark ye traditions, sayest thou, and lo, thou speakest of Eve, that woman long ago, around whose name still fancy weaves her spell, whose name men call forever out of hell. If I have failed thee aught, or helped thee on, think this of me when I away am gone. How that we two were friends, such friends it seems, as though that ancient woman's power still held, through all the blood of womanhood impelled, until in me thou tellest her thy dreams. This next one, called Killed in the Street. He was so frail, so small where he lay dead, hands at the trail, and slack the little head. They laid him in her lap, and still she did not weep, but his tattered cap fanned him asleep. And then, "Oh God," she said, and then again, "Oh God," and touched him where the shod, hard hoof had marked his head. He was run over by a horse. Wow. Well, I suppose that was the days, wasn't it? Back in the day. All right. Let's do, well, here's another one called Australia. Australia, part 1. There was great beauty in the names her people called her, shaping to patterns of sound the form of their words. And they wove to measure of speech the cry of the bird, and the voices that rose from the reeds of the cowell. There, when the trumpeting frog boomed forth in the night, "Gobba gumbalim," he said, "Gobba gumbaling." And even as Aristophanes heard in the far-off deeps of his Grecian marshes the frogs, so we in the word "Gobba gumbaling," hark and measure the sound. Part 2. Mark where fallen the tribes move in shadow. Dark are the silent places where Arunta walks. Dark as the dim valleys of Hades where stalk grey-shaped the gods and heroes of the Greeks. These were the young, for even when Arunta was old, very old was Arunta when Alexander wept. Old, old was Arunta when over Bethlehem was seen the star that told the birth of Christ. Old, old was Arunta when upward from the deep was swung the hammer symbol of Poseidon. Troy rose and fell, but Arunta lived on. Then was Arunta put out in the night. All right. The Song of the Woman Drawer. I am the woman drawer. I am the cry, I am the secret voice, I am the sigh. I am that which is heard, low in the dusk. Birds by a note reply, the flowers in musk. I am that dolorous plaint, uttered where calls a lone bird wandering by dim waterfalls. I am the woman drawer, pass me not by. I am the secret voice, hear ye my cry. I am that power which night loses abroad. I am the root of life. I am the cord. Okay, well, that's that for Chillin' Tuesday. Well, thank you for joining us. If you've liked that, give it a thumbs up and click on subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and leave a comment. Tell me which poem was your most favourite one. Well, that's it for Mary Gilmore. I'm Thundercloud here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. Washed away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. I will see you later. I didn't say words. Tomorrow.